Good morning, and we are live. I'm glad to be here with you this morning. Let's just dig right into it. Sorry about that. A little camera disconnection there for just about half a second. No problem. Got it under control. What I want to talk about first is the Abundant Life school shooting in Wisconsin. Actually, what I don't want to talk about is that. This is Natalie Rupno. She is the shooter and responsible for it. The reason I'm not going to go into this, a lot of people have emailed me about this. A lot of people have contacted me on social media. I understand this is something that you guys really, really, really are interested in. I am too. I'm really sick of the violence. I'm really sick of this insanity. But I'm not really ready to address this yet because accuracy is important. And what's been going on around this situation has been nothing short of disgusting. You know, when the Uvalde shooting happened, you had the right wingers, the Alex Jones crowd, the gun activists, the Trump lovers, the people that needed to divert from what was going on, really going on, the white supremacists. They all immediately started circulating information about the Uvalde shooter that was just not true. They said he was transgender. They said he was just every one of their bad guys they could come up with. They said he was an illegal immigrant. They said just all kinds of craziness in the first several days, just permeated the right wings. And this is the exact same thing that's happening with Natalie Rupp now. Is they're claiming that she is Marcia. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you. Hey, back at you. They're claiming that she's transgender because she went by the name Samantha, which was not her given name. They're claiming that she was actually transgender male. That apparently that said would in their minds make her crazy enough to shoot people, which is insane anyway. But it's not even true. It's not even true. She's not transgender. But there's also information spreading out that she may have been caught up in the whole white supremacy thing. Now, she's like 15 years old, folks. She's a kid. And until I get real confirmation of that, there's a picture that is supposedly from her, by her, that she posted before the shooting. It's a downward, you cannot see her face. It's a downward picture of her flashing a white power, supposedly flashing a white power sign. But nobody can confirm this. I mean, I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to say, oh, this is why it happened. That's what happened, this, that, and the other, until we get good information and we can deal with it. I mean, I'm just not comfortable with any of it. But I will tell you this. I am very disgusted that, as usual, the right wing has reacted the way they always react. They're running with all kinds of misinformation. They're attacking people that had nothing to do with this. And it's just typical disgusting behavior out of the right. Thanks for the support, Rich. I really appreciate you, brother. I really do. It's just another damn useless tragedy that didn't need to happen. That part I can tell you. And there are some court records coming out that, again, I have not reviewed these court records. This is speculation by one journalist, so I am not going to hang my hat on this, but it's out of the Washington Post, and they're saying that it was a fairly troubled home life for the shooter. Her parents apparently divorced and remarried multiple times. But again, without details, without knowing more about it, I'm just not comfortable talking about it. I'm just not. So we're gonna skip on that story today and talk about things that are in our wheelhouse that we know more about. First of all, Donald Trump is again saying outrageous crap, stupid crap on top of outrageous crap, which means there's something going on that he doesn't want us to be looking at. He's throwing shiny objects out there. We'll find out in a few days what those shiny objects are. Last time we said that, we found out it was the ABC settlement, which was behind the scenes that was going on, where he's trying to rewrite history about him being a rapist. This time, we don't know yet exactly what it is. I've got a few ideas we're going to talk about, but yeah, Donald Trump has come out with some unhinged garbage. First of all, we've got this nonsense where he posts on his failing social media site, no one can answer why we subsidize Canada to the tune of $100 million a year. Makes no sense. Many Canadians want Canada to become the 51st state. No, they don't. They would save massively on taxes and military protection. I think it's a great idea. 51st state. More of this stupidity. Again, please let me apologize to our Canadian friends. You're just going to keep hearing this stupidity because he's running one of those trash TV shows. He's not running a government. He's running a trash TV show is what he's doing. So that's why we are seeing nonsense like this, because it gets attention and it's ridiculous. Sherry Foster, I appreciate you. This shooting is just off the press. Sheesh, yeah, I hear you. And I do apologize, folks, but I looked for information on that, and I could not find enough hard information. I felt really comfortable doing a whole segment on it. We will talk about it, but I'm not just going to jump in for the clickbaits like you're seeing. Been pretty disgusted with what I've seen on social media. There have been a lot of people that have been out there willing to really just run with, this is it. This is why it happened, and this is it, and with no backing whatsoever for what they're saying. And I'm not going to do it. But let's talk about this statement right here. The first sentence, no one can say why we subsidize Canada to the tune of $100 million a year. We don't. And again, it is that Trump is really stupid. We have a trade deficit with Canada because we buy tons of critical things from them. We buy lumber, we buy concrete, we buy oil, we buy all kinds of things from Canada that we need, that they provide. So no, we're not subsidizing Canada. We're purchasing from them, and he can't tell the difference. And he doesn't really want to say that because he's going to slap a tariff on Canada. And if he says that we're just purchasing shit we need from them, yeah, then he's got to acknowledge that he's going to jack prices on everybody. And it's just, he knows his voters are stupid and uninformed. He knows they are. He knows he can say stuff like that. He knows the corporate media aren't going to correct him. He knows that he can say sensational, ridiculous crap like that and get the attention that he wants. So let's not fall for the shiny object. Let's talk about some other things that are actually important that are going on. Lori Yates says, is it true that we get fuel from Canada? Oil. We get a lot of oil from Canada. They're not so much a lot of refined fuels, but we do get a lot of oil. This is another one of those sensational things that he threw out there as a shiny object. It's gross. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And it's designed to get attention. It's designed to make everybody look this direction. This is his nominee for ambassador to the Bahamas, Herschel Walker. It's not a joke. He really has put forward Herschel Walker as his nominee as ambassador to the Bahamas. John Chapman, thank you for the support. Do you think abortions for medical emergencies will be outlawed? I waited to have kids to finish my education. I don't want to risk my wife's life since she's now nearing 40. Depends on the state you're in. At this point, depends on the state you're in. Do I think it will be outlawed nationally? Yeah, I think they'll make it so damn horrifically hard to get an abortion that, yeah, people are going to start dying nationwide. And it is 100% something they're going to do. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a happier answer for that, but no. Yeah, they're going for a national abortion ban. But yeah, just a reminder of some of the nonsense out of Herschel Walker. This is the guy that said, we've got the cleanest air and water in the world. America has the best air. But it goes over to China and picks up the, intermingles with their bad air and then comes back as bad air. Really seriously said this on a debate stage, people. Said the Inflation Reduction Act, which was wildly successful. Inflation has come down. Not only did it come down, it didn't come crashing down like normally happens in these situations. It was a very soft landing. We didn't go into deflation. We didn't go into stagflation. It came down to the normal 2% range. It was a wildly successful piece of legislation, but he said the Inflation Reduction Act was going to trees, man. Don't we have enough trees already? Really said that, folks. Google it. Google it. He really, really said that. And the one that just didn't get enough coverage, and I realize it's not as stupid or poke fun at or laugh at as the Inflation Reduction Act's going to trees. Don't we have enough trees already? Is that he came out and said that lowering the cost of insulin doesn't help anybody, that we all just needed more exercise. His mama has diabetes and she don't need cheaper insulin. She needs to get out and eat better and exercise more. Which I think is just the amount of stupidity in this country. Does anybody, you folks are intelligent, informed people. You understand, especially type 1 diabetes, has not a damn thing to do with how much you exercise. It just doesn't. Yes, diet can affect your diabetes, but no, you can go to the gym every damn day and your type 1 diabetes ain't going away. It's just not. You can eat responsibly every damn day of your life, and your type 1 diabetes isn't going to go away. It's just not. These people are the dumbest human beings on the face of the planet, and Republicans are elevating them because they want this. They want this show. They want this trash TV 90-day fiance government because they can rob us blind and do the sickest crap when you're distracted with this nonsense. The last diversion thing that they've done, like I said, the ABC thing was to rewrite history. Well, they're trying to rewrite January 6th so that they're not the bad guys on January 6th, because there are a lot of people in the Republican Party that aren't cool with it. Their own base that aren't cool with January 6th, and they're not able to put it all together. So you've got Barry Loudermilk here, Congressman Barry Loudermilk, who is trying to rewrite history, the history of January 6th, and it will work for MAGA. It will. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't going to work for MAGA. It is going to work with MAGA. They want this. They've already started with the ABC capitulation. Trump's not a rapist. They've already started with that. They are going to rewrite January 6th, and MAGA are going to go along with it. And here's what they're trying to do. Okay. Oregon wine lady, glad you're here for one. You never have too many wine ladies around. A comedian once said, "You can't fix stupid." Amen. Amen. But this is what stupid is saying about it. Our next president. Liz Cheney could be in a lot of trouble based on the evidence obtained by the subcommittee, which states that numerous federal laws were likely broken by Liz Cheney, and these violations should be investigated by the FBI. Remember, Kash Patel is going to be over the FBI. Thank you to Congressman Barry Loudermilk on a job well done. Newsmax by Greg Kelly. Yeah. The allegations they're making is that Liz Cheney colluded with Cassidy Hutchinson. Y'all remember Cassidy Hutchinson? She gave very damning testimony about Trump's behavior during January 6th. And the assertion that they're saying must be investigated is they're saying that Liz Cheney colluded with Cassidy Hutchinson without her lawyer's knowledge, which is just unethical. And they have proof. They have text messages that they have found by reviewing the January 6th evidence. And this is the text message that they put forward as evidence. Just to show you how stupid this is. This goes along the lines of the election was stolen. We were denied our chance in court, even though you went to court 60 times and never produced an ounce of evidence. This is on par with that. This is a text message from Alyssa Farah to Cassidy Hutchinson, who Alyssa Farah was working as a staffer, but let me read it to you. I know you're busy, but is there a chance you've touched base with anyone regarding what we talked about on Tuesday night? Cassidy Hutchinson responds, "Hey, yes. So I reached out to Liz. Pardon me, I got that backwards. Says, hey, yes. So I reached out to Liz. She agreed to keep our convo totally confidential. She said she admires you." This is from original. Let me start over. This is from Cassidy Hutchinson to Alyssa Farah. Cassidy Hutchinson says, "I know you're busy, but is there a chance you've touched base with anyone regarding what we talked about on Tuesday night?" She has texted that to Alyssa Farah. "Hey, yes. So I reached out to Liz. She agreed to keep our convo totally confidential. She said she admires you and could tell you wanted to do the right thing from your testimony. Her one concern was long as you," she misspelled, she said "ad" instead of "as, "so long as you have counsel. She can't really ethically talk to you without him. But what she suggests is a follow-up with you, with your lawyer, that she and Dan George can lead, probably can do without other members and Tim. Does that help at all? I can tell she really wants to work with you and is just trying to figure out the right way to do it." To which Cassidy Hutchinson replies, "I mean, do you think this is actually of interest to her at this point, or is it moot?" And that's it. That's it. Their big damning evidence that Liz Cheney colluded with Cassidy Hutchinson, and the evidence that they put forward themselves to prove Liz Cheney colluded with Cassidy Hutchinson, is a text message from one of Liz Cheney's staffers that says, I can't talk to you without your lawyer. It's unethical. It is exactly like when Bill Barr rewrote the Mueller report to have it say the exact opposite of what the Mueller report said. They're literally taking a text message that says, I can't talk to you without your lawyer. That would be unethical. And they're going to their stupids, and I'm going to call them the stupids. Y'all tell me not to call them the stupids. I'm going to call them the stupids. Deal with it, because they are stupid enough that this shit works. They are the stupids. They are taking to them a text message that literally says the opposite of what they are alleging. They are alleging that Liz Cheney intentionally worked with Cassidy Hutchinson, went around her lawyer, and as evidence, they have a text message from Liz Cheney's staff saying, I can't talk to you without your lawyer. Let's make that happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is just ridiculous. And it's working. It is working. The corporate media, I didn't have this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull this up for you real quick. It is just ridiculous, how this is playing out in the corporate media. It is ridiculous. This is the search results you get when you Google Loudermilk report, which is the rewriting of the January 6th report. Rep. Loudermilk targets Liz Cheney, calls for more probes. Chairman Loudermilk releases second January 6th report. House Republican Liz Cheney should be investigated over January 6th. After investigating January 6th, House GOP sides with Trump and goes after Liz Cheney. Those are the search results from the corporate media. Do you think I have special access to information regarding this? No, I don't. Do you think the corporate media has exactly what Loudermilk and his staff released? Yeah, they do. And they printed those headlines anyways. They printed those headlines anyways. The corporate media is our enemy. The corporate media works for the Republicans. I don't know how we're going to get our side to understand that and acknowledge that and approach the corporate media as though they are the enemy, but they are. This is new, folks. This is new. This is over the last several years. The corporate media has always been bad, but they've never really taken the mask off before and just been this blatant about it. This much of an arm of the Republican Party. Yes. Loudermilk was one of the people that gave people tours of the Capitol before the insurrection. Yes. And now he is planning on running the investigation into everybody that caught him doing that kind of shit. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm believing this is a diversion from. It's called filling the space. It is a political tactic. It is. It's a political strategy. It's called filling the space. You are a human being. Now, the best example I can give you. You take a deep breath of air. You can only fill your lungs with so much air. Your attention span is exactly the same way. When you go looking for information, even though you are intelligent people, even though you are people that can bat down bullshit at the blink of an eye, even though you have those abilities, they know they can fill that space with so much crap that you will not have time to actually consume decent information. Now imagine that, and you're one of the stupids. How much more effective filling the space is for the stupids, because you fill that space with shiny objects. And they never get to the louder milk evidence. I mean, it's hard enough for you to go in and dig into this and get to the actual evidence that proves what is actually going on. That's what these distractions are about, folks. That's what these distractions are all about. And here's another thing that's coming crashing down on Donald Trump. You know, he made a lot of pledges during the race. He did. He said he was going to do a lot of things with taxes, and there were a lot of really dumb people. You know, there was a conversation, a text conversation that went viral on social media between two friends. One was like, how could, what do you mean you're voting for Trump? And the response from the friend was, girl, I'm not about to pay more taxes. And the response from her was, girl, you're a hostess at a Texas Roadhouse. And it was like, really? Because Donald Trump went out there and he understood better than we did the makeup of our population. He understood better than we did the amount of stupids. And again, I've apologized for it before, and I will apologize for it again. I fell into the trap. I did. I'm normally very cynical about people. And I fell into that trap of hope and forgot that we aren't just talking to each other. That it's the stupids out there that are hearing these conversations. And they believed it. They believed all the pledges he made about no taxes on tips and no taxes on overtime and getting rid of the taxes on Social Security. And none of that is going to happen, folks. It's not. But it's worse than that. It is worse than that. The Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy took a look at Donald Trump's tax proposals, and they added them up. They went through, and they didn't put anything in his mouth. They just said, you say you want to do this. This is how this reflects on people's income. Period. They just did the math on taxes. And they went through, and they looked at all of his proposals, and it's not good, folks. It's really not good. If you're in the bottom 20%, you're looking at about an $800 a year tax increase. If you're in the second 20%, you're looking at about a $1,430 a year tax increase. If you're in the middle 20%, right at median income, you're looking at about a $1,530 a year tax increase. This is if Donald Trump does what he says he's going to do. If you're in the fourth 20%, upper middle class, if you would say, you're talking about $95,000 to $150,000 a year, roughly, you're looking at about an $1,800 a year tax increase. If you're in the 15% above that, 80 to 95% of income, $150,000 to about $350,000 a year, you're looking at about a $610 a year tax. No, wait a minute, that went down. It was going up, but the minute you started to hit people that had a decent amount of income, it's starting to come down. You're getting about a $600 tax increase. But when you jump to the top 5%, the first 4% of the top 5%, well, Trump's proposals give you about a $7,200 a year tax decrease. About a $7,200 a year tax decrease. And if you're in the top 1%, your annual tax decrease is well over $36,000 a year. If you're in the top 1%. Nice change if you can get it. They go through, they highlight all of what they were talking about. They didn't just pull this out of their butt. Trump has vowed to extend the temporary provisions in the Trump 2017 tax law. Trump has talked about exempting certain types of income. They gave him credit for, okay, you're going to not tax overtime pay. That's why this is actually worse than what you just looked at. Because it said, okay, we're gonna believe you. You said you're gonna get rid of taxes on overtime pay. You're gonna get rid of taxes on tips. You're gonna get rid of taxes on Social Security. None of that is going to happen. None of that is going to happen. But these numbers give him credit for that. Reducing the corporate tax rate from 21 to 20%, and then further reducing it to 15% for companies that make products in America. Again, probably going to be higher than that. So this is actually going to be far worse. Repealing tax credits. Under the Biden administration, they enacted several tax credits. Trump has vowed to get rid of them. The tax credits that came along with the Inflation Reduction Act, for example, they're going to, he said those are gone. And of course, talking about imposing a new 20% tariff on imported goods with a higher tariff going on China. This is where they got these numbers from. They spell it all out for you here. It's not something they pulled out of their butt. This is literally what Trump said he's going to do. And they broke it down by how each one of those provisions affects the different groups. And this is why I say it's actually worse than this. It really is. Because if you look at the biggest chunk of changes down here, it really hits the poorest folks the hardest. You know, the tariff, you're talking about adding $930 to their taxes just on the tariff. That money has got to go out, folks. And you're talking about people that are making less than $30,000 a year. That's huge. That is a huge chunk of money for someone in that income bracket. It jumps to over $2,000 a year just for the tariff. In the second 20, for people making 30 to 55, it jumps to over $3,000, almost $3,500 a year for people making, you know, in the mid 50s to mid 90s, and up to $5,000 a year in additional taxes from people making mid 90s up to 150. You're talking about the upper middle class. And then the wealthy folks are hit for about $7,500 a year. But these people see huge reductions when they extend the 2017, the old Trump tax law that benefited the wealthy. They see huge reductions that folks in the lower spectrum don't. And this whole exempting certain types of income thing, again, it disproportionately would help people in the lower tax brackets. These folks, while this looks like a solid number for you and me, $3,400, $3,600, it is not a big chunk of change. It's not, because the extension of the 2017 tax laws, it's worth about $80K a year for Johnny Got Rocks. So when Trump doesn't follow through with the promises that he's making for your average everyday American, those numbers look far worse. we're going to seriously hit the find out phase as far as taxes are concerned. So Trump is going to do a lot of really crazy, wild crap to try to distract from this. This is reality creeping in, folks. This is governing coming home to roost. You've got to, it's one thing to run for office. It's one thing to make promises. But when you've got to govern, this really affects people because, government's not fantasyland crap on Fox News. Government really affects your life. Peter Campbell says, all of his false programs and promised benefits, when they fail or don't happen, will be blamed on a non-compliant Democratic Congress. Oh, you know it, brother. You know it. You know it. We're going to talk a little bit more about that very thing here in just a minute. Helen, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. I couldn't do it without you folks. And if you could take a second to just hit that thumbs up button, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's just like the follow button. It lets you find my information easier. And we're about to bust 100,000. Help push us over that line. But it's not just the taxes, man. You got this crazy guy out there that is just, people have woken up and realized, the shit he's saying, they don't like. You know what Americans do like? We like our GLP-1s. We do. Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. People like those. They're really helping a lot of people. They are. And not everybody has the ability. Well, let me just show you. Andy, thanks for the support, brother. I really appreciate you. I really do. Benaloco's in the house. Man, I've missed you, Benaloco. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you here. My favorite crazy hippie chick, man. Hey, and by the way, she does a really fun show. Benaloco, if you could tell them about it. She does a really fun shows. If you want to hang out, man, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's dancing. They do talk about important issues. So yeah, link that, Benaloco, if you would. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world. E.T. Appreciate you, brother. Trump's pee down tax cuts. The rich get the cuts and they pee on everyone else. Yeah. Amen, brother. I hear you. I hear you. I feel you. Let's talk about this guy. This guy likes to lecture everybody about health. That man's 70 years old. Let me tell you something about this guy. You don't get that physique at 70 years old. Not normally. Not normally. You don't. Let me tell you, as somebody that's getting older, your testosterone production drops. You get fatter. You don't put muscle mass on as easily. You don't get that physique unless you do a buttload of testosterone therapy, for one, which he has admitted. He's come out and said that. But I would bet this hat right there, it's much more than just testosterone. There are a lot of rumors flying that RFK is juicing. I mean, everybody that looks at him says, no way, no how. So Mr. I'm using the pharmaceutical industry to try to build a physique that I can't build under normal circumstances, wants to tell you that you can't have your Ozempic, your Wegovy, your Mounjaro. And again, where we're going with this is they've had to seriously roll this back. They took a newspaper, they rolled it up, and they smacked RFK in the mouth and made him come out with a new statement that absolutely 180-degree changes his opinion on these. Because again, their policies are the rubber's meeting the road. Even the stupids are, what do you mean I'm not going to get my Ozempic? And the corporate media is telling the Trump campaign, we're going to have to talk about this. This is going to be big news. And this is the complicity we're talking about, where the corporate media has just become a wing of the Republican Party. Instead of just reporting on, hey, RFK Jr., the guy that is a firm believer in pharmaceuticals to try to get his physique, is telling you you can't use pharmaceuticals to help you when you don't have the ability to go to the gym 2 hours a day. You've got a job. You have kids. You're raising your grandkids. You don't want to make your heart explode by pumping it full of massive amounts. By the way, testosterone therapy is great for your physique. It is. It is. It helps you put lean muscle mass back on. It has tons of benefits. One of the benefits it doesn't have is heart health. It is heart health. You can pump up with testosterone therapy, but you are taking years off the end of your life. Your doctor will tell you that. Don't take my word for it. Go talk to your doctor about it. So that guy is telling you you can't have your GLP-1s like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro and whatnot, which absolutely help you. Helps you with your type 2 diabetes, helps you get your weight down, helps you, you can't have those benefits, but he can have his drugs. These are the kinds of things that are blowing up in their faces, that are just blowing up in their faces. And what's worse is if the corporate media actually spent just a little bit of time. This is an old article. This is an old article that's being rehashed here. That are talking, what they're doing is they're rehashing, saying, oh, look, by the way, everything RFK said about Ozempic and GLP-1s is crap. It's full of shit, all the way down to he's always been a grifter. One of the things that he's always said about these things is, well, they're made in Denmark, but they won't even let you use them in Denmark. Well, that's a damn lie. That's just a flat out lie. They have Ozempic in Denmark. They have Mounjaro in Denmark. They have Wegovy in Denmark. Ask our friends from Denmark. They'll tell you. We've got friends from Denmark in this audience right now. The health claims he made about them were false. Just made up crap. And all of a sudden, the stupids realized, they're really going to do this? I thought they were just going to hate the people I wanted them to hate. I thought that was just talk. I didn't think that they were really going to do the things that they said that they were going to do. Yeah. And it's blowing up in their damn faces. And it came to light. By the way, if you haven't ever heard of Taking Goddard or followed Taking Goddard, he's got a blog that's called Political Wire. When I first started getting involved in politics, it was kind of a transition that went this way. I live in a very Republican saturated, very Republican loud area, and I would hear things and I would like, nah, that don't make sense. That just doesn't seem to make sense. That seems to be trying to tickle a bigot bone. That doesn't make sense. When I went out and I started to actually get engaged several years ago, really get engaged in politics, Taking Goddard was one of the first people that I came across. He's a straight shooter, and Political Wire, it's a really good source, folks. It really is. Just Google it, Taking Goddard's Political Wire, and it'll take you to it. He will talk about these issues as they actually happen. And with this post, what he's talking about is how they ended up taking a newspaper, rolled up magazine, and smacking RFK in the mouth, because you have Elon Musk, who is absolutely a fan of GLP-1s, saying, because Elon Musk is a whore. He's the emperor with no clothes. He will say anything, promise anything. Just look at the racked up, failed, false promises Elon Musk has made over time. He's literally the emperor that has no clothes. Yeah, he loves GOP ones. He really does. He's just a whore. Anything that will make him popular, he's going to say it, and he knows that is a very much a third rail. Do not go after people's Ozempic. So that caused kind of a civil war in the middle of this, and RFK has capitulated. He has gotten to the point where he's just like, just tell me what to say. Just tell me what to say. I was just selling bullshit the whole time anyways. I don't really care. It's not like I've got a name or a reputation. Just tell me what to say. Damn, that coffee's cold. Woo. Normally it's really good, but that coffee's cold. That's all right. Cold coffee's better than no coffee. But this is the other thing that has just happened. And this not getting attention from the corporate media is a crime. It is a crime. It is just a crime. This is going to have such long-term effects on us and everybody. It is sickening. It is sickening. And you just won't find much about it if you Google it. But Mike Johnson just blew up talks. They were having negotiations on permitting going forward to build power infrastructure, power plants, whatnot. Governing is making sausage. It's not pretty to look at. Nobody gets everything they want. And that's the way this process was working. They were going back and forth about who was going to get what. And you had the fossil fuel folks, even the coal folks, they're represented there. Then you had the green energy folks, and they were duking it out. They were coming up with what we're going to do going forward. Well, Mike Johnson just spiked all that and ended the negotiations for Trump, because Trump told him, hey man, I'm making sweet deals with the petroleum industry. I could make a lot of money off of this. Let me do this negotiation. Don't even talk to those green energy people. Don't make a deal at all. Just like he did with the border bill. Just like he did with the border bill. He killed a really good bill. Not a perfect bill. It needed a lot more technology, a lot more infrastructure involved in it. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You take such good care, man. Baby brought me hot coffee. She's the best. She's the best. But yeah, it's freaking disgusting. And why this is so bad, is this is infrastructure that our grandkids have to live with. I mean, I know I've said it 100 times, but elections have consequences. And the stupid crap that people got upset at. If you follow me on social media, I have been losing my mind over this AOC nonsense. Because of stuff like this, folks, I know stuff like this is happening. And then I've got these people that are like, well, the Democratic Party's done. It's over. It's over. They're ignoring their people. Oh my God. They put Connolly in a committee assignment over AOC because AOC wanted it. Well, I get it. You like AOC. You wanted her to get something, but let me share a little inside baseball with you. One, AOC doesn't have the best reputation on the Hill right now. She just doesn't. She just doesn't. Not among Democrats, she doesn't. Why? Because she fell face first into the Gaza crap. And I don't care which way you fall on that politically. I don't. Politically, it was a no-winner. That's why almost every Democrat out there avoided it, because it is a no-winner. Let's talk about that for a second. No matter what side of the Gaza issue you're on, okay, you wanted the United States to come out aggressively against Israel. What does that mean politically? Okay, if they do that, what does that mean? That means we lose the Jewish vote. And Jewish people vote. Of any demographic out there, Jewish people are like old people. They vote. And if we come out aggressively against Israel, the way the Gaza folks wanted us to, we lose that vote. But if we go the other direction and we say, oh, no, we just got Israel's back. We just got Israel's back. Well, then we lose all the young people that were upset about the whole Gaza thing that don't really have a whole lot of information. So they tried to split the baby. They quit sending them, 2,000-pound bombs, and they acted against them, but not aggressively trying to get through the frickin' election, because this was a no-winner. What did AOC say? She cannonballed right into the pool. And it cost us. It did. We lost all the gains we made in the last election with young people over that issue. So no, I don't know. It doesn't matter where you fall on that issue. That was a stupid thing for AOC to do. And Democrats are pissed about it. They are. They're not happy about this. They're not forgive and forget about this. She was not going to get that committee assignment for multiple reasons. One, it's the House Oversight Committee, which is an important committee in the best of times. E.T., thank you, brother. I appreciate it. The progressive wing of the Dems are their downfall. After the election, there is zero chance to get a woman in the White House for the next decade, and these people are wanting her up front. We are cleaning up this mess. We are. I'll give you that, E.T. We are having to clean up this mess. It is rough. I'm going to leave this up here for a second. Dennis, this is one of the points I'm about to make about this. And let me tell you, folks, I like AOC. I do. I like AOC. I think that she's going to end up being a great part of the Democratic leadership. And the Democrats came out and announced yesterday afternoon that they're looking for a spot for her. But you know what it's not going to be? It is not going to be the Oversight Committee, because the Oversight Committee is hugely important right now. The Trump administration is going to be a fight on every issue. It is. And the Republicans are filled with traitor cowards like Loudermilk. The House Oversight Committee, everybody on that committee is going to be very long in the tooth. Ways and Means, Intelligence, Armed Services. These are all committees that AOC, no, she's not going to be the ranking member on those committees. She's not. Commerce, sure, that's a plum committee. She may end up there, but it's not going to be there. But I got screamed at because it's like, oh, we got to get rid of the old people. I mean, the ageism was huge yesterday on social media. We got to get rid of the old people in lieu of the young people. And I'm like, well, okay, what about Jasmine Crockett? What about Jasmine Crockett instead of AOC? Because Jasmine Crockett did not make the same mistakes that AOC made over the last year. She didn't. You want a young person? Why not her? But the gambit has paid off for AOC. They are going to find a leadership position for her. They are. And again, I don't dislike AOC. I don't. What I dislike, I am a ride or die Democrat. We don't do this to ourselves, folks. This has to stop. We cannot. When these things are going on, I am sitting here watching the news that they are killing our permitting negotiations, and we're going to have to fight over infrastructure that literally our grandchildren are going to have to deal with. The future of our infrastructure. We're in that fight, man. Are we going to have coal plants? Are we going to have natural gas plants? Are we going to have nuclear? Are we going to have wind farms and solar? And we're in that fight, literally happening real time. And I've got to hear that the Democratic Party's all over because we didn't give AOC the one seat that she wanted, that she was not qualified for, even though I like AOC. I do like AOC. It doesn't mean I want to hand her the frickin' party. And I definitely don't want to be in the middle of a circular frickin' firing squad when there are so many important issues. Real, important, hard-hitting issues that are going on. Come on, folks. Come on. But her emails. Then it was Gaza. And now it's the AOC. Stop the circular firing squads, people. Please. Please. Just be ride or die for once. Our majority whip is Catherine Clark. I got called a misogynist, folks. You saw me spend the last 3 months absolutely fawning over Kamala Harris and her leadership abilities and the campaign she was able to pull together in a short amount of time. They were screaming I was a misogynist and that I have to go. I got to be canceled. Me. I was the guy that was a champion for Catherine Clark, our majority whip. Oh, I'm an old corporatist dim. I'm telling you, they were out with the knives yesterday, folks. I was hot. I'm an old corporatist dim. How many times have I been on here extolling the virtues of Hakeem Jeffries, the new guard? How many times have I called for the new guard just because I dared say AOC's not qualified for this committee? She's not qualified to lead this committee. She's qualified to be on the committee, but not lead the committee. And it's an incredibly important committee going forward with Trump the way he is. And that was it. That was enough. Cancel the party. Cancel Texas Paul. It's over. It's over. We didn't get something we wanted. Sal Willis, I'm with you 100%, Texas Paul. Thank you for all you do. Thank you. I appreciate you. I can't do the show without you. Lucky Star 88, what about Trump trying to get rid of Jared Moskowitz by offering for him to head for? Yeah, that was something else. Trying to recruit Moskowitz down there because they understand how Congress works, man. Moskowitz gave him the middle finger and said, no, I'm good. I'm good in Congress. Because Moskowitz knows his future is beautiful and bright. He is the next generation. He's going to be a winner. I bet he's the governor of Florida one day. I will bet you. But yeah, that was how my afternoon was supposed to be off, my day off. I spent it yesterday trying to end the circular firing squad, declaring the death knell and what made me mad, just infuriated me, is there were good people out there that have been fighting for years for the Democratic Party, sucking up for clicks, jumping on that AOC train for clicks. Oh, the Democratic Party's lost its mind. Connolly's a good man. Connolly has a 0% rating from Heritage. They hate him. Oh, but he has cancer. He should have never even tried for the job. He's got cancer. Really? What about Jamie Raskin? Because Connolly's cancer is far less aggressive and much more easily treatable than Jamie Raskin's was. Are we canceling Jamie Raskin now? I'm not. I like Jamie Raskin. This was foolishness. This was foolishness. And let me tell you something, folks. If you want to make people hate AOC, keep doing this shit. Because eventually they will hold her responsible for the shit that y'all do in damaging our party. But yeah, that's not the end of the important, serious things that are going on in the world. While I'm trying to put out the fire of a circular firing squad within our own party over people that didn't get the one thing they wanted. You got 99% of what you wanted, but you didn't get the one thing. So Democrats are done. While I was putting that fire out, this was what's going on in the world. I promised to keep you updated on what's going on in Syria, because it is hugely important to the Middle East, hugely important to the future, our kids' futures, and our grandkids' future. It is going to, the Middle East is literally changing before our eyes if Ahmed Al-Sharaa can survive. This is a real situation here. ET, appreciate you, buddy. Unfortunately, there will be 4 years of circular firing squads to deal with, but you do have us to help you get through them. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. There was a lot of support yesterday. A lot of you folks were helping us fight, and I was just so disappointed by people that I know are good people that were out there sucking up for clicks. It really, you didn't help anybody yesterday. You didn't help anybody at all. This is happening, folks. This is one of the major things that's come out of Syria. A little background information. Syria was under serious sanctions, serious sanction. Assad, one of the ways he was able to stay in power and keep his regime functioning was he was a drug dealer. He was a major drug dealer. There's a drug called Captagon that was first made in Germany in the, don't quote me on this, I want to say the late 60s, early 70s. It was around that time. They call it poor man's cocaine. It was designed to treat ADHD. It's speed, basically. It's just speed. Assad has flooded the Middle East. Captagon, you know how we talk about fentanyl here, everything, every Republican, you can't talk about people, immigration, anything that you don't hear. Fentanyl. Well, they've got a problem in the Middle East with Captagon. They do. On October 7th, the terrorists that they killed in Israel had pockets full of Captagon. They were riding high on speed. This is a real thing, folks. Assad kept his entire country afloat, pumping this shit all over the Middle East. And here's how it works. All of these high and mighty, we're soldiers of God groups that are funded by Iran are actually funded by Captagon sales. They are. And Hezbollah, you know, the high and mighty, we're the soldiers of God, Hezbollah. Yeah, they're the reason the Middle East has a Captagon epidemic. And it is so bad that the Saudis, Jordan, everybody were actually arguing to lift sanctions on Assad. They were negotiating with him to stop making this shit. They were talking about lifting sanctions just to get him to stop making this shit. Because it's a problem, folks, in the Middle East. It is a huge epidemic. And the way it works is they would manufacture it in Syria, but they couldn't run it safely. They couldn't control the flow of it if they ran it across land. Because all of these holier than thou, holy rolling soldiers of God groups would steal it. and sell it. Yeah, they're believe me, they are not above drug dealing, folks. They are not. So what he would do is he would cart it to the ports. Hamas would protect it. They would sell it to the Italian mafia and ship it to Europe. They didn't sell it in Europe. They didn't. That would have interfered with the process, because then you would have had European law enforcement going after it like they're going after other drugs and synthetic drugs and whatnot. They didn't really sell. Captagon is not marketed in Europe, but they did send it utilizing the Italian mafia to Italy, and then they would ship it as though it was legitimate cargo to different points in Europe, all the way up, even all the way up to Rotterdam, and then ship it back to the Middle East. And it would get lost in this blizzard of containers that were coming in from Europe to the Middle East, that because of corruption and each of these different countries, they don't really do a really good job of scanning these containers. But that's the flow of it. From Syria through Hezbollah to the Italian mafia, up through Italy on containers, through Europe, then shipped back to the Middle East in a big convoluted circular shipping for this, so that they could get it into these Middle Eastern countries pretty much all undetected. Thanks, Lori. I appreciate the support. I really do. I mean it, folks. Take a second to hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Let's bust 100,000. That's a big thing on YouTube, by the way. It really helps you in the algorithm. It puts you in a whole nother category. Yes, this is why I love you, Peter. I love you folks so much. The Nazis did something really similar. The terrorist organizations love this stuff. This is like the candy bars the Nazis used to make for their soldiers. People were like, why are these SS people? They're starving to death. They're out in the middle of the frickin' winter, and they won't stop marching because they were eating frickin' candy bars laced with amphetamine. Hamas pumps their fighters full of this shit. Every one of these organizations, every one of these terrorist organizations use Captagon as Bolivian marching powder, man. I mean, it is literally, I can't stress to you how monstrous of a problem it is. Well, and again, here there are articles you can confirm what I say, because I know it sounds convoluted and weird. Why the hell would they ship it all to Europe just to ship it back to the Middle East? It really doesn't makes it easier and safer for them to transport it. I mean, this is a known thing. But Ahmed Al-Sharaa, I introduced you as the name he's dropped his moniker. He is no longer going as Al-Jilani. He is using his real name now. He is evolving into a serious government in Syria. He has stopped. Like I said, he went by the moniker Abu Muhammad Al-Jilani. He has dropped that moniker. He is calling him, so from now on, you know who I'm talking about. I'll refer to him as Ahmed Al-Sharaa. He is the head of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. We're going to call them HTS from now on. That is a mouthful. Way too damn much to say. Here's the problem he's facing. He has made enemies on every front, and he's done it by doing the right thing. You know, I've told you this before. Hezbollah cannot survive peace. Hamas cannot survive peace. Benjamin Netanyahu cannot survive peace. Iran cannot survive peace. Ahmed Al-Sharaa He's taken off his uniform. He's again dropped his moniker. He's going by his real name. He's establishing a real functioning government in Syria. And he has said there will be no war. I'm not going to respond to IDF attacks. If you're unfamiliar with what's going on, the IDF has been bombing the shit out of the Golan Heights the moment the Syria fell. And the reason is Netanyahu cannot survive peace. And Ahmed Al-Sharaa is insisting on that very thing. He is not allowing retributions or reprisals among groups in Syria. And he's killing the drug trade because it's bad for the people. He's walking the walk of everything he's ever said. And as much as I am a cynic, I am really starting to like this guy. Don't get me wrong. He came up a terrorist. He did. But everything he's doing right now is everything you would want. He's negotiating. He's not continuing the war in Syria. He's not being baited by Netanyahu. He's not responding to IDF attacks. But he is making enemies on all fronts. One with Netanyahu. Netanyahu cannot survive peace. Netanyahu cannot handle a peaceful Syria on his northern border. Because if there is no threat, there is no need for Netanyahu. And he is wildly corrupt and he will go to prison. He must have that conflict. So Al-Sharaa is 100% in Netanyahu's crosshairs right now. He's made an enemy out of Hezbollah. Why? Because for all their big talk about being soldiers of God and all their high and mighty bullshit propaganda, they are frickin' drug dealers. And he's not selling them their drugs. He's not. He's made an enemy out of Iran because Iran funds all of these radical Islamist groups with that drug money. They do. They're frickin' drug dealers. They sell it to their own people. They sell it to the Saudis. They sell it to the Egyptians. They sell it to the Lebanese. They sell it to... They just do. That puts them in the crosshairs of Iran. Because, again, Iran supports Hezbollah. Hezbollah makes their longest green and funds all of their crap. You know, these guys didn't get to be billionaires by stealing UN concrete in Gaza. They didn't. They got to be billionaires by... I love this, Mr. Spock. I do. If you get that reference and you read some Aldous Huxley, I'm 100% thumbs up. So yeah, I am cautiously very much liking Ahmed Al-Sharaa, and I don't know if he'll survive this. He's made an enemy of the Italian mafia. He's made an enemy of the Russians because the Russians absolutely, this is the way they behave. This is what the Russians do. They live off the drug trade. 100%. 100%. They live off the drug trade. It is par for the course for the Russians, for the Chinese, and yeah, even for the good old US of A. In Afghanistan, we blindly turned away from all of those opium poppy fields, knowing damn well that heroin was coming home. This is what big governments do. China's doing it to us with fentanyl. You flood your adversaries with drugs. So Russia, who's absolutely been able to keep Assad in place on the cheap because he funds himself with his own drug labs, is absolutely the enemy of Ahmed Al-Sharaa. The Kurds, while these negotiations are peaceful right now, and the Kurds have 100% cooperated with HTS, fought with them, fought shoulder to shoulder with them, want their frickin' territory. And the Kurds are sitting on the richest oil territory in Syria, which is going to lead to conflict with Al-Sharaa. So yeah, that's the kind of detailed, complex, complicated situation that we're seeing right now. There's such a breathlessly beautiful opportunity right now. And this is something that, again, I was raising holy hell about. Where are all my Gaza people that were screaming Palestinian homeland? Where's Rashida Tlaib screaming for her Palestinian homeland? When there's an opportunity right now in Syria, the Golan Heights with the West Bank all the way up into southeastern Syria could be Palestine. But that window's closing. And none of these people that were never really about helping the Palestinians, that were, part and parcel to organizations that sell freaking drugs to the Palestinians, aren't doing shit to help the Palestinians in this situation when this opportunity is right there in front of them. Where are they? Where are they? Are you telling me if you can't scream death to Israel, and Israel is our the bane of our existence, that you can't act for the Palestinian people? Because that's what it really looks like to me. I told you, I've supported the Palestinian people for decades. There are a lot of people in Israel that support the Palestinian people. Netanyahu has an opposition in Israel. Netanyahu is not Israel. That is insulting. That is like saying Trump is America just because Trump won an election. Trump is not America. Netanyahu is not Israel. So no, I'm not going to go along with you with Israel is the enemy of all Palestinians, all Arabs, and that it has to be destroyed, and Israel has to be wiped off the map, and we have to turn Israel into Palestine. Bullshit. There are good people. There's one Jewish state, and I'll be damned if I'm going to go along with you to ending that Jewish state. I'm not going to do it. I hate Netanyahu. I do. But these situations are complex. And there's an opportunity here, folks. There really is. If people would just start making noise about it. Al-Sharaa is presenting himself as a reasonable man. He is trying to reinvent himself from that person that came out of ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda into, hey, I've got my suit on now. I've retired my military uniform. I've taken everything off. I've laid my AK-47 down. I have a pen in my hand. It is time to govern. Unfortunately, elections have consequences, and we have a president-elect who does things like nominate Herschel Walker to be ambassador to the Bahamas, or Kimberly Guilfoyle to be ambassador to Greece. I can only imagine what's going to happen with Syria. Amy, good to see you. Political Musings with Amy Manuel, but AOC is a big part of why Dems lost this year. As a Jewish Democrat, that was a losing issue that kept Dems home. Yeah. And a lot of Democrats are pissed about it. That's just why, I just cannot and will not accept this circular firing squad. There's a reason she was not supported. She was rash and foolish. And yeah, Benaloco, this is another one. This is another one that's coming for another show. Thank you for the comment, Benaloco. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, Trump is literally talking about plowing Gaza under. He is. I want to wrap this up with Elon Musk is nobody's friend. He isn't. And his platform is freaking evil. It is. It's evil. I hate X. I hate Elon Musk. I do. I really do. I want that man to fail. I want everybody to start realizing that every one of his promises, all the way from freaking tunnel boring to brain implants to going to Mars, to none of it ever comes true. Those freaking driving toaster, self-driving buses, and the taxis that every right-winger thinks that they're going to make a fortune on because they're going to buy them some Elon Musk taxis, robotic taxis. None of it ever comes true. He is literally the emperor that has no clothes. But he is worse than that, because it is his platform right now where you have all of these Islamic groups, you have Hezbollah, you have the Israelis under Netanyahu, all are assailing Al-Sharaa. They've dubbed him Giuliani the Jew, or Giuliani the Jew, pardon me, because he will not go to war with Syria. And yeah, I am telling you, that is coming out of Israel also. But they are trying desperately to get these groups to turn against him, because he is ending their drug trade, because he is refusing to go to war with Israel, and he's trying to build a peaceful country, and none of these people can survive peace. None of these people that I've mentioned can survive peace. They must all have war all the time. Just like Trump must have his shiny objects. He must have Herschel Walker's going to be an ambassador. He must have Kimberly Guilfoyle's going to be an ambassador. Canada's going to be a state. Trump cannot survive without this reality TV bullshit. But it's much more serious in this situation. This is being fomented and pushed on X. They have dubbed, again, he's dropped the moniker Al-Jilani, but they've tagged him Al-Jilani the Jew, or Jilani the Jew. This is really happening, folks. Why we're having our circular firing squad over, oh damn, an old guy got put in front of as the ranking member of an important committee. Focus. Well, folks, that's what I've got for you today. I really appreciate you being here. I do. I really want you to ask you one more time. We are about to break 100,000. Hit the thumbs up button. I know it's a slow news day. Tried to keep it as interesting as possible for you. Tried to keep you informed of what's going on. Thank you for all the support. I cannot thank you enough for all the support. You allow me to do this full time. But please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and enjoy some Texas cities at night.